Yeah, I just wanted to maybe do like a part two. Um, I'm gonna tag this on parental alienation, but it's not really about parental alienation. But my part one video was, so I'll just put it underneath that hashtag. It's about forgiveness. Look, the thing is about this world is there's a lot of evil going on in this world, such as parental alienation, amongst other things too. Even, more minute things such as, I don't know, somebody talking behind your back, or somebody maybe somebody stealing money from you or something or whatever. Somebody walking into a store stealing a pack of bubble gum, anything from that to, terrorism or whatever. Just know that, God allows certain things to happen. Um, and somebody might say, well, being the fact that I'm putting it under the parental alienation hashtag, somebody might say, well, why would God allow this to happen to me? I think, you know what? I don't have all the answers, and I'm not going to sit here and act like act like a know-it-all, because that's definitely not what I am. Definitely not. Trying to wrap my brain around God of the universe is just not possible. And for me to sit here and even attempt to try to figure him out is just it's just beyond any person. Like human brains, I think, or human beings, I think we only use a certain fraction of our brain. The reason Einstein was so smart, supposedly, I think we use like 5% of our brain, or is it 15%? I don't know what it is. It's a small portion of our brain, but Einstein used a little bit more for some reason. Just the way he was, the reason he was so smart was because his brain, he was able to use more of his brain. It's just the way he was born, I guess. But a natural person, what I mean by natural is just like, a normal person, somebody who might work at, even people who are considered smart, whatever your definition of smart is, people tend to think, if intelligence has to do with academics, like in school and stuff. Not at all. You could be smart in all different kinds of ways. There's a lot of people in school that just, get out of school and they don't know what to do. Really, sure, they get a good job and they have nice things because they got, but when it comes to life, I'm not saying everybody like this. I'm not saying everybody's like this, but you'd be surprised. Some people go to school and they just slam dunk a 4.0 or a 3.9 or whatever, even, whatever. But outside of the classroom, when it comes down to it, some people, what I'm just saying is, don't ever let anybody make you feel dumb, or don't ever let anybody make you feel too smart. Be humble. Have balance. My point is, this video is, it's kind of veered off on something completely different. Is that God allows evil to happen in this world. He allows it to. For his purpose, I don't know why. Neither do you. But, he allows it. My life, he has a plan for me. He's already discussed that. To a small degree. So, and yeah, I take him at his word. That's God. What am I supposed to do? Sit there and call him a liar? Come on now. My point is that when you're seeking forgiveness, just know that restitution for you is going to happen. You don't have to sit there and pray for it. Sure, if you want to pray for it, if that makes you feel better, go ahead. God is a just God. Things might take years, but you will see restitution. You will. So my point is, holding on to unforgiveness is pointless. I mean, I'm not good with examples or analogies or anything, so I'm not even going to attempt to sit here and throw an analogy at this. But people holding on to unforgiveness, your restitution, if somebody, you know, in our case, being the fact that I'm going to class, this video is going under that, you know, one of the hashtags is going to be parental alienation. You're watching this video, unless you're the alienating parent where you actually took somebody's kid, you know, you're the parent that got dumped on. Just know that redemption, it's already done. It's not a matter of if, but when. God has an appointed time for everyone and everything according to his plan. So kicking and screaming and clenching your fist and gritting your teeth and spitting fumes and cursing somebody is not, it's just pointless. Restitution, let me repeat myself, restitution is yours, whoever's watching this video. Okay? I don't care if it's somebody came in your house and stole $5 off your table. Happened to me one time. $5, whatever, man. You need the $5, go ahead. You know? I mean, of course, I know it's not the $5. It's just the point that it happened. And my roommate, it happened to my roommate did that to me, supposedly. My girlfriend, I just started dating this girl, and she told me that he went into and took like, it was like $10. I kicked the dude out of my house like a week later. You know, no hard feelings, whatever. It's just time for him to go. I mean, he was starting to disrespect. He was, you know, he just wasn't a good roommate. I was trying to do the kid a favor, and he crossed me. Goodbye. Get out of my house. I don't put up with garbage, man. I'm a nice dude, but I have my limits too. You know, you know. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that forgiveness. Look, God sees everything that happens to people. If you've been dumped on, if you've had injustice, restitution is coming your way. It's got your name on it. You don't have to sit there and beg for it and plead for it and say, God, why? He's sitting up there saying, dude, it's done. God knows the future. It's done. Signed, sealed, and delivered, man. It's done. Okay? Again, the parent who stole your kid, I don't like to use the word steal because it sounds like your kid's an object. That's not who he or she is. She's a person. But let's just say the parent who sabotaged, who did everything they could, and anybody else who was involved, you know, because if it was parental alienation, I mean, there's a pretty good chance that other people were involved, whether you realize it or not. That's how it usually goes. There's a supporting cast, you know. You have the alienating parent, and then you have a few people around that alienating parent that kind of just, you know, kind of add fuel to the fire. Not in all cases, but at least in my case there is. And I'm sure there's a good chance that whether you realize it or not, there's probably at least one person. Maybe not. I don't know. But, you know, when it comes to forgiveness, restitution is mine. It's yours too. And I'm just going to be honest with you. The consequence might not be what you want, because depending on what you've gone through, you know, you might really have gone through horrible injustice. And you might be over there being, man, cracking your knuckles, you know, just really, really wanting, you know. Look, God is no softy. God's not going to sit there and just play patty cake with the situation. He's not going to sit there and let somebody suffer. You know, you might have to go through some things. You might have to go through some things for a little bit. You might have to. I know I did. You know what? And you know, you probably are too, especially if you're watching this video under this hashtag. But guess what? Restitution is yours. It's yours. You don't have to sit there and beg and plead for it. It's kind of like an inheritance that, this is the best analogy I have. It's kind of like an inheritance. You're sitting right now broke. Let's say you can't touch that inheritance until you're 25 years old. You know, you're 21, 22. You just moved out of your parents' house. You're broke. You're in college. You're eating macaroni and cheese, ramen noodles, and SpaghettiOs every night. And if you're lucky, you'll be able to afford milk for your cereal. First of all, I mean, you're broke. You need money. But you can't touch that money until you're 25. It's not that the money is still yours. Legally, it's yours. It's out there. It's in a bank, but you can't touch it until you hit 25. Why? Because whoever left you that money has their reasons. You can try to think about it and rationalize it. You could either agree with it or disagree with it. I'm sitting here starving and yeah, I have all that money in the bank. Well, it doesn't matter. Wait until you're 25 and then boom, you cash it. Then you're not eating SpaghettiOs anymore. Just make sure you handle it properly, that's all. You know? But it's there for you. It's just not here now. It doesn't mean that it's not going to come. It's in a bank account, dude. Same thing with forgiveness. That's the best I got. I think that's a darn good, pretty analogy. And if you can't pick up on that, I don't know what to tell you. But it's out there. You don't have to sit there and pray for that inheritance. You don't have to sit there and beg and plead and just wonder and things aren't happening. It will happen. I know the process is gritty. It's tough, especially when people do things to you and they just seem to be skating by, man. You know? Like a parental alienation in my case, you know? I mean, I think to myself, I used to think to myself sometimes like, I don't get how somebody can really get away with that for so long, Like, nobody sees the injustice. I love my kid with everything I have, trust me. But, how can a kid, and look, I'm not throwing stones at my kid, trust me. I'm just saying this to say it because you could probably relate to my thought process. How could, any kid sit there and deny a loving parent, whether or not that kid knows the parent, whatever, and then just turn around and side or jump into the arms of an abusive parent, especially after the truth was presented to that child. The child still chooses to deny the truth and just, go run back to the same people who are lying to her and conniving like snakes, dude. I know, trust me. But look, God sees that. He sees that. And you know what? You don't know what your kid is really going through. You don't know what's going on in that house. You can't fault that kid. You can't. You have to understand that it's not your child's fault. Your child is more than likely just playing by the rules. Your kid does not go home to you every day after school. That kid goes home to the parent that is doing this garbage. Obviously, parents who do this stuff, they're not doing it because they're coming from a good place. That kid pays attention to you. That kid shows any kind of interest in you. Trust me. Were you ever in that position? Because I wasn't. You don't know what it's like to be in that kid's position. Just like that kid doesn't know what it's like to be in my position or your position. So take it easy on your son or daughter. Really. I know it hurts. And, it is what it is. But you know what? God is up there and he sees everything. Like the money in the bank. The inheritance is out there. You just have to wait till you get of age. And sometimes getting of age means, giving it to God and just, look, it's out there, man. So just holding on to this stuff is pointless. It's pointless. It's poison. You're just holding on to poison. Just let it go. Let God deal with it the way he wants to deal with it. He's not going to sit there and just, in parental alienation situations, we're so used to seeing our exes, the people that have, custody of our kids, they walk into court and they roll out the red carpet for these people. And when they do something wrong, half the time they don't even get a smack on the wrist. Worst case scenario,